So, how do I start this? We'll just start from the start. I answered a comment today that stated that women were 99% truthful with their with rape accusations. We're going to break that down later on. But as it went on, I was also told that the videos, well, I was more or less accused of pandering. As far as that's concerned, the comment was made that this person knows that I need to keep my channel Republican. My only response to that is go fuck yourself. Like, honestly, go fuck yourself. Because that's pretty much saying that I'm pandering. You're saying, essentially, that I'm saying these things to cater to a certain audience. I don't keep my channel Republican. First of all, I'm not registered as anything. I'm not registered to vote. Something I've said before. It's a thing where if I believe that it's so important for me to go out and vote that I will actually make that much of a difference, me personally, myself, I'm willing to let politics go to the wind. It really doesn't concern me at all. I have yet to see anything in politics happen that has affected my life to the point where I've said to myself, yeah, I need to have my voice heard from this point on. I've got better things to do with my time. You take that for what it is. A lot of people shit on me for that, but whatever. You know, I'm not shitting on people that do go vote. I'm not saying that they're wasting their time. If they feel it's their civic responsibility and their civic duty to go out and vote, have their voice heard, more power to you. It's just, I don't feel that way. Right? So I'm not a registered Republican. And I don't keep my channel Republican or anything like that. I give my opinions. Right? If they happen to align with whatever political opinions that are out there right now, well, okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. But I give my opinions. That's it. I love my country, right? I do. I have a lot of national pride. I am happy that I was born in America because it beats everywhere else, right? In my opinion. Again, my opinion. Not saying that because I'm in America. And I think that because I'm in America. I'm saying that because I think that. And I think that because I think that. It always annoys the shit out of me when people try to say, oh, I know you're trying to do this or that. No, you're fucking wrong. I'm trying to relay my opinions to the people who decide to click on my videos. For whatever reason. That's it. Period, end of sentence. These are my analysis of situations. This is what I think. So, you can shove that shit right up your ass. Right? So let's get that right out of the fucking way. Then I was told, essentially, that the videos that I've been making recently about how I have taken it upon myself to interact with women, that is somehow going to be some way that it's going to incite INCELs. And I'm like, I don't know what the fucking incel is. So I learned a new word today. And incel is an involuntary celibate. Again, a lot of these pop culture things where people start giving labels to other people, or even when people start giving labels to themselves, I don't care. None of this shit really affects me in my life. I don't bother to deal with it. I keep up with pop culture, but pop racism or pop groupism, the whole tribalism thing, I could care less about. So when somebody comes up with, oh, I've got a new tribe, or somebody says, oh, I've developed a new tribe and now these people are this, I don't give a fuck. So that's why I never know these little fun terms. Like I had to learn cisgender, way back when. But so apparently an incel is an involuntary celibate. These are men that apparently can't get girls, so it makes them very angry, and they believe they're entitled to sex and this, that, and the other thing, and they turn misogynist and nasty and whatnot. It's apparently listed as a hate group. Makes me real happy when somebody's saying that I'm saying things that are going to incite a hate group. That's fucking awesome. But whatever. Here's the thing. If I have any of you incels watching me, I couldn't be further from what you are. Right? I'll say that right out of the gate. I don't not have a girlfriend because I can't get girls. Believe me, I can get girls. One of the things you got to do is you got to get offline and actually go out in the world and speak to them. And you got to not be fucking weird, and you got to not be off-putting, and you have to have something going for you. If you're still living with mom and dad, probably not going to get girls at the age of 25 and up. Just throwing that out there. If you don't have a good job, if you don't take care of yourself a little bit, probably not going to get girls. Like, if you're involuntarily celibate, meaning no one will have you, you have to kind of look at the possibility that maybe, just maybe, it isn't all of them, it's fucking you, right? Like, if no one will have you, there's a problem with you. If everybody thinks you're something and you're saying, no, it's everybody else that's this, probably you. Like, you need to look in the mirror and really think about yourself and what you're doing to make yourself desirable. And are you doing anything to make yourself desirable? I have to work hard to make myself undesirable. So, whatever. But I'm not involuntarily celibate. I do it by choice, right? It isn't you all don't want me. It's I don't want any of you. Now, here's another thing. This is, I would also consider myself a temporarily voluntary, purposeful celibate, or whatever the fuck. Purposefully single, I would say. There's always been a distrust with me and women, because I've had a lot of women lie to me. So when you said this one instance, again, go fuck yourself. You don't know me, right? I've had a lot of women lie to me. I've had a lot of women do shitty, shady stuff to me, right? I know a lot of women that are just not wonderful people. I'm not saying that it's impossible for a woman to be a good person. I know a lot of women that are good people too, right? It's just, like you do, you don't talk about all the good stuff. You don't say, yeah, there are some girls that I think are great, but, there aren't enough in my life to make me go, resoundingly all women are good. There are enough bad women in my life to say, resoundingly most women are bad, right? When I say all of you women and I lump all of you together, it's because I'm painting with a broad brush on purpose. I'm doing that because I just don't think there's a risk. When I said that women are like wolves, beautiful, graceful, very appealing, magnetic in their own little way, but you don't dare go up and pet one because you might get mauled, like, apparently, I think maybe people, or maybe I was going more for the I think I was going more for the descriptor level, using words like beautiful and graceful and whatnot, and also giving the life destroying danger, right? Really, I guess a more accurate description would be, forgive me, ladies, I guess a more accurate description would be women are like stray dogs. Now, hold on. Calm down. Quit projecting on me. I'm going somewhere with this, right? You come across a stray dog, it's entirely possible that stray dog is going to hurt you, right? But it's also entirely possible that stray dog, you could take it home with you, or whatever, and it could be your best friend ever, right? But it's more likely stray dogs are gonna hurt you. Like I don't know. You gotta go through a lot of bad ones before you find a really good one. That's just the way it is, and that could have something with just the natural growing up process of people, that kids are dicks, and you grow out of that shit as you get older, and then you become more realistic about things and whatnot. And a lot of people have the desire to play around for a long time, and then they finally get to the point where they say, yeah, okay, I think we're going to look for more stability right now than just a revolving door of other people in my life. And that goes both ways. It cuts both ways. So, there could be a lot of that going to it. Maybe I just haven't hit an age yet where a girl is under my age, but yet high enough to, I don't know, hit that sweet spot of what the fuck ever. But the critique that I'm making is that in current day, women have lost their minds. And they've all, a great portion of them have decided to jump on this bandwagon, and I don't want to get run over by it, right? So I'm just like, I'm hiding for now. The nukes have gone off, I'm in the bunker. Maybe someday the fallout will clear and I get back out of the bunker. But I'm not totally closed off myself from it forever. I like being alone. I do. I'll be honest with you. I really like being alone. And I don't really have a fantastically huge desire to add somebody else in my life. With the way the situation is in my life, it'd be difficult. I think it would be difficult to do what I do here. I'm also very fucking busy. Like, I work a job, and then I come home and I work doing this. So I spend a lot of time working. I'd have to figure out a way to find time to, date somebody, to get myself involved in a relationship with somebody. That's going to be very difficult. So I would argue that when I'm talking about myself and my position in my life, I'm talking about myself and my position in my life. For other people, it may be different. God bless. If you're with a woman and you're happy, man, that's awesome for you. I just, right now, I'm enjoying where I'm at. I wasn't always this way. There was a time where I was very desperate to get a woman. And then I got women. And I got a lot of women. And I went through a lot of women. And it wasn't good. I wasn't a good guy for doing it, I admit that. And then that kind of slowed down and petered out, and I started having longer relationships with less women. And I don't know. None of them ever stuck. It never really worked for one reason or another. Certain things kept getting in the way, and So I'm getting a lot more choosy. And for a woman to get to a point where I'm going to have her in my life, there has to be a reward there. There has to be a worthwhileness to it. And I think it's okay for a man to want to be picky, right? I think it's okay for a guy to say, look, I take care of myself reasonably well. I have a decent job. You know, I have my own place. I have my own stuff. And if you want to be a part of my life, you're gonna have to bring some of that with you. You know what I mean? And I've oftentimes found that a lot of women, they kind of think, oh, I'm just gonna become a part of that person's life, and I don't need to bring anything with me. They have to put up with me. Doesn't fucking work that way. No, it's a two-way street here, right? I'm driving a car, you're riding a bike. You don't just jump in my fucking car, okay, let's go. No. You gotta have your own fucking car. Or at least bring a trailer. Or however the fuck that metaphor is supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm doing all these things to make myself attractive to a woman, I think that it's not wrong of me to say that a woman should do some things to make her attractive to me. I'm fucking lovable. But a lot of women aren't even likable. Not saying all. I'm sure there's women out there. I guess what it comes down to is I should stop saying all. I guess the meme is getting played out and people are starting to take it really fucking seriously. You're all very fucking sensitive. So I guess I gotta stop saying all and go to saying almost all. Anyways. So yeah, I don't really align with the incel philosophy. I don't think I'm entitled to anything. I don't think I'm entitled to anything I don't earn. I think if I earn something, I should have it. But whatever. That gets weird when you're talking about earning a woman. Whatever. Anyways, I don't like anytime anybody gets violent and extremist about pretty much anything. So if you're out there thinking it's the women's fault that I'm not getting laid, no, it's probably mostly your fault. I think that women could be a little bit less picky. I don't know, what is it, the 80-10 rule or something like that? 80% of women will chase after 10% of men. Some of that shit. I fall within the 10%, so I'm fine as far as that's concerned. But I do think that is kind of fucked up. I think you ladies could broaden that percentage out a little bit. I mean, shit, 20 and 30%, that's still not bad. So, whatever. But yeah, I do think that women are very picky, and I think they're getting pickier, and I think that that's a problem. And I'm on strike. No. But yeah, I don't think that rage and blaming others is the solution. I think that's fucking retarded. I think there's probably a problem with you if you can't get any woman to give you the time of day. There's something going on with you. Like, I don't know. But whatever it is, you gotta figure that shit out and you gotta correct it. I didn't get girls for a very long time. And then I thought to myself, maybe it's me. So I put a little bit of work into me, and all of a sudden, pussy rained from the sky. So, I don't know what to tell you. If you're an incel and you're watching me and you're thinking, yeah, this guy fucking gets it, he hates women too. I don't hate women. I don't hate anybody. I hate the things that they do. And that is kind of, again, cross-board. I hate a lot of the things that a lot of fucking people do, because it's shitty, and it's disappointing, and it doesn't make the world a better place. And for you to go, yeah, well, I think that there's so many women out there that are bad and mean, and they're making the world a horrible place, so I'm going to be bad and mean too, because that'll make it better? No, it'll make you feel better. And that's it's very selfish of you. So, if you're an incel watching me thinking to myself, or to yourself, I've found my new what the fuck ever, you haven't. Someday I will be going back after getting girls again, and I'll get one. So I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I when I read that, what incels were, it pissed me off doubly that somebody was saying, well, you could be misconstrued into aligning with these people. Sorry, again, it's kind of on you. You're projecting shit on me. Don't do that. And as far as what I believe was the greatest point of all of it, that 98% of women are telling the truth, I'm going to play this clip again from Bering to give everybody perspective on where we're about to go with this.
Okay, so the key points I got out of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, were sexual assaults in terms of the accusations are usually real, and the number of false accusations are statistically not as significant as the alternative. So I thought I'd have a closer look into the legitimacy of these two statements. It is difficult to find statistics around sexual assault that aren't lumped in with rape statistics. When dealing with these combined stats, it is common to hear the one we've just heard, between 2 and 8% of accusations are false, so I'm going to assume we're both talking about combined sexual assault/rape stats. Now, according to the NSVRC's false reporting overview, between 2 and 10% of reported rapes are proven to be false. But let's go with the 2 to 8% range that you suggested and adopt 5% being the median. So here's 100 little grey men. The green men represent accusations that were proven to be false. Now, according to Rain's criminal justice system statistics, 7 out of 310, or 2.25% of reported rapes lead to a felony conviction. So the red men represent accusations that led to a felony conviction, or in other words, they were proven to be true. The accusations against the grey men left in the middle were neither proven to be true or false. So going back to our two statements, the first statement, sexual assaults in terms of the accusations are usually real, doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Only 2.25% of accusations lead to a conviction and therefore are demonstrably true. And the second statement, the number of false accusations are statistically not as significant as the alternative, doesn't stand up to scrutiny either. Aside from the fact that there's more than one alternative, the statistics show that there are more accusations proven to be false than there are accusations that lead to a felony conviction.
Now, I was given some statistical paperwork that discussed this, pretty much, and in that statistical paperwork, it also discussed the percentages of I don't know, non-reported rapes. We'll deal with that afterwards because that's where it gets kind of harsh. But we're going to look at the statistics of what this person, I believe, was trying to relay to me. When they said that women were 98% telling the truth, they're going with the 2% of rape accusations are proven to be false. And they're essentially saying that that means that 2 of the little gray men are green, and therefore all of the other little men are red. No. 2.25% of the little green men, or little gray men, are red. All of the other little gray men, they are neither true nor false. They haven't been proven one way or another, right? They're in that gray area where it's the Schrodinger's cat. We don't know if they actually committed a crime or not. It has not been proven. But just because it hasn't been proven doesn't mean that it's true. To say that is kind of asinine, ridiculous, and it goes against due process, right? You're one of those listen and believe type folks. Just because somebody said something, that means it's true. I am not one of those type of people. Like, that's where the disconnect is. You're trying to make me think that it's even remotely reasonable to just assume that between 2 and 10% of rape accusations being false, that somehow means that women are 90 to 98% telling the truth. No, because a lot of those gray men might be green men, we just don't know. And a lot of those gray men might be red men, we just don't know. I'm not saying that because between 2 and 10% are, or 2.5 or 2.25% of rapes accused are found and proved to be true, that somehow means that women are 97.75% lying. I think that would also be extraordinarily ridiculous. In those gray men, some of them are really green, some of them are really red. It's terribly bad that some of the red guys stay green. I don't like that. We'll get into that in a second. But it's also completely unrealistic to assume that none of those gray men are really green. Like, it's the listen and believe thing. You're going with listen and believe. And you dare say I'm the one reacting off of emotion. Come the fuck on. You got to be kidding me. I'm looking at facts. And I'm making a realistic analysis of those facts. You're the one giving horribly unrealistic analysis of the facts. So don't fucking shit on me because you just are insane, are utterly fucking insane and terribly unrealistic with your viewpoint. I can't help that. Clearly I can't help that. I went back and forth with this guy all day. No. Just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true or false until it's proven. All it is somebody said something. Sorry. You're just wrong. The data is in. I just showed it to you. You have the hard numbers. You're filling in the blanks, right? And I'm saying that if we were to decide to use that as a statistical trend in figuring out what percentage of the gray men is one way or another, if that is a statistical trend, then there's a lot of women lying. I think it's what? Two women lying for every one, essentially. Right? So, to say that women are 98%, even 90% telling the truth, you're being extraordinarily unrealistic. And you're doing a disservice to yourself and every one of those little gray men. Every Judge Kavanaugh out there, right? You're saying what they did is absolutely horrible. The woman said that he was a part of a rape gangs. And you're going with, well, she said it, so I guess it's true. He's not a little gray man to me, even though it's not proven, and there's a fuck ton of holes in the story. Sorry, no. It's bad when you think that way. Bad thinking. No. You have to be slightly more realistic than that. You have to think maybe some of those little gray men didn't actually do it. Come on. And as far as non-reported rapes, now look, to say that there are X amount of not reported rapes, I'm just going to throw out a number. I don't know what it is, but I know that people do like to throw out a number. But let's say it's 100,000 non-reported rapes every year, right? First of all, where the fuck are you getting that number from? If it isn't reported, where are you getting that number from? I would love to counter with, there are 5 million non-rapey sexual encounters. I got a way bigger number than you do. Right? Like, what is that? What even is that? If something horrible happens to you and you don't report it, it's essentially consensual from that point on. I'm sorry, like I said, this is where it gets fucking harsh. This is where it gets fucking harsh, ladies. I'm on your side. I oftentimes wonder why you're not. If somebody assaults you in some way, I get it. There's a lot of shit that goes on. You don't want to come forward because you don't think you'll be believed. You don't want to come forward because you don't want to go through it. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. I understand all that. And I'm not shitting on you for that. It has got to be a terribly horrible violation to have to go through. I feel you. I do. I really, really do. And I've said a lot of things over the year, almost 2 years that I've been doing this, that I believe is good advice. Don't just take a drink that any random stranger hands to you, because you never know if you're dealing with somebody who's trying to drug you, right? So, if somebody's going to give you a drink, if somebody wants to buy you a drink, whatever, say, I'll take it, but only if it's a sealed bottle of some sort. Go that route, right? I'll take it, but only if I get to watch the bartender make it and you hand it to me. I don't think that there is anybody out there that would think that that's a shitty thing. And if they do, I think you found yourself a possible rapist right there. If you say, look, I'll let you buy me a drink, but I have to watch it being made, and I have to take it myself. I don't want you touching it in any way. This is for my protection. If they decide to get shitty with you over that, they're a fucking asshole. Don't drink anything that they give you, because no, that's bad. Like, if they get offended by that, you gotta look at them and go, look, man, I don't want to get raped. I'm not saying that you're gonna do it, but this is my way of making sure that it doesn't happen. I'm protecting myself. I don't think anybody should have a problem with that. I certainly wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, fine, no problem. It wouldn't bother me at all. And for you guys, what do you think you're doing? You can't just do that kind of shit. Girls shouldn't take that from you. They shouldn't. They should be working to protect themselves. I'm not victim blaming. I know that there are women out there who do exactly that. They take drinks from random strangers and they get drugged and terrible things happen to them. It isn't your fault that that guy was a piece of shit. But you do have to understand you didn't help yourself, right? You could have said, yeah, I'm not going to drink that because I don't know who you are and I don't know what you might have put in it, and I don't do that. I just don't take random drinks from strangers unless they're sealed bottles of some sort. You're not helping yourself, right? You have to protect yourself. I don't walk down the street waving money around because I know that there's a great possibility I'm going to get mugged, right? I'm trying to help myself to not get mugged, right? So, but again, not blaming, just saying, you got to protect yourself. Nobody's going to protect you any better than you can protect yourself, right? And I've always said, if something terrible happens to you, if you do everything you possibly can to protect yourself, and something happens anyways, you have to collect the evidence. You have to make sure that gets done. You do. You have to. Because if you decide that you're going to do something about it, then you're going to have to be able to prove it. You're going to have to be able to prove it. Because I don't want these fucking people in society. I don't. I don't want rapists out there making me look bad. And I do consider it that way. It makes me look bad. Because then women aren't going to want to trust me. And there's a possibility someday I might want to get a girlfriend again. And I don't want to have to jump through the additional hoops of, look, I'm not really a bad guy. I want to be trusted just as much as I want to be able to trust women. I think it's ridiculous to not consider that to be an equal thing. Right? So, I think that false rape accusations are terribly harmful to not only the people that they're thrown against, but also to other victims, actual victims. I've said this many, many fucking times. I think it's awful when some girl comes out and falsely accuses some guy of rape, because that makes it more difficult for other people to be believed. I wish we lived in a world where 100% of women were always telling the truth, and 100% of people accused were definitively proven to have done it. I wish we lived in that world. I think it would be so awesome if we lived in that world. That every time a woman got raped, she reported it, had the proof, bam, conviction, bury those motherfuckers under the prison. Right? And if something happens to you and you decide to not report it, you have to realize that essentially you've just consented. I'm sorry. That's consent. Right? There's a lot of guys out there having sex with a woman and nothing gets reported because it's consensual. And there's a lot of times where guys take advantage or do something horrible or force or whatever and it doesn't get reported. They're no different. They're very different in actuality. But on paper, they're no different. You've consented to that at that point. It's harsh, but it's factual. It's consent at that point. If somebody does something that you don't like and you don't tell anybody, you've consented. And that sucks. Because again, when you do that, when you consent, I believe personally, you're allowing that person to go out and do it to somebody else. I'm not saying that you have an obligation to report. I'm not saying that you have a duty to report. I'm saying that I believe personally you should believe that you do. That's my viewpoint. That's my personal viewpoint. That's my opinion. If you don't think that's right, well, that's your opinion. Right? We're battling opinions here. And I know I'm going to get shit on. I know a lot of women are going to say, I can't believe that you're saying that since I was raped and didn't report it, that I consented. And I'm going to say in response to that, what would you call it then? Seriously, what would you call it then? And you can't say, well, it's an unreported rape statistic. Well, then you're just a fucking number that doesn't even actually really exist. Because you cannot prove a negative. Nobody can prove to me that there are X amount of unreported rapes. All I can have is anecdotal evidence of that. Well, I got, assaulted and I didn't report it. Well, okay. Well, that doesn't mean anything. That means that you're telling me something. Right? You got to do something about it if you want something done about it. You can't just sit back and go, well, this happened to me and it's terrible and I just don't want to deal with it. Well, if you don't want to deal with it, fine. That's on you. But just make sure you understand. That's on you. And if that guy goes out and does it to somebody else, you've allowed it to happen in some way. Again, it's harsh. And it's not nice to say that. And people are going to be upset about that. But to me, for my part, I can't help but believe that that's fact. Because if that person, assaults you, and then that's it. They don't assault anybody else, got lucky. But if that person assaults you, and you don't say anything, and nothing happens, then they might get it in their head, I could do this again. And they might decide to. And that's bad. Because then now somebody else is getting hurt. And then that person might decide they don't want to say anything about it. And then somebody else. And then somebody else. And somebody else. Until finally, somebody does. But by then, it's X amount of people too late. Nobody should have to go through a sexual assault. Nobody deserves to be raped. Nobody deserves to have that sort of a horrific thing happen to them. I do take this very seriously. And I use a lot of strong language when I talk about it. I say a lot of things that I know are going to upset people because it's harsh, hard reality. But I do not endorse in any way sexual assault. I think it's probably one of the most terrible things that a person can do to another person. I think it's just awful. But to say that because 2 to 10% of rape accusations are found to be false, that means that 90 to 98% of women are telling the truth about their rape accusations, that's insanity. If it isn't found to be true, then we don't know. And that's the scariest part about it. Because a lot of times there isn't evidence to be collected. You could do everything you possibly can to protect yourself, and you could, as soon as something happens, do everything you possibly can to collect every bit of evidence that you can get, and sometimes it just doesn't bear out. And I think that's shit too. I do. Doesn't make me happy. Far from it. Makes me very upset. Because I can't think of anything that would be more emboldening than that. Than to have somebody be on the ball with it all. And still, because of a failure of the justice system, or maybe the guy got a really good fucking lawyer, or whatever, I think it sucks. It's an extremely horribly bad crime. Because it's so difficult to get a conviction on. And so many of these fucksticks get free. And I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not. But I am looking at the raw data, right? and I'm looking at it with a realistic eye. And I don't do this listen and believe shit. Because, you know what? It's not always true. There's a lot of reasons why women might decide to lie about this shit, and not a goddamn one of them are good. But, like, you can't sit there and say that I'm looking at it emotionally when I'm looking at the data. And I'm giving a realistic interpretation of it, as far as I'm concerned. You might disagree, and that's up to you. You know, again, that's your opinion. But my opinion is, some of those little gray men, they're green men in disguise. And I don't think it's wrong to say that. I don't think it makes me a bad person to say that. That there's a possibility that some of those unproven one way or another cases, some of those guys aren't the monster that the other guys are. But conversely, or reversely, or whatever the proper term would be there, I don't think all of those little green or gray men are green men. I think that's also terribly ridiculous. A lot of those little gray motherfuckers are red men in disguise. And they're assholes, and they're getting away with something terrible, and that's a shame. And that shouldn't happen. But we're imperfect people. Human beings are imperfect people. If we were perfect people, we wouldn't have a word for this sort of thing, because it would never fucking happen. But we're not. And because of the fact that we are imperfect, we have to accept the reality that we're going to make imperfect systems. And sometimes the thought that I would rather have a guilty man go free than an innocent man spend a day in prison wrongly, you know, that lets a lot of guilty motherfuckers free. It does. And, you know, it's the cost we pay. And it sucks and it's unfortunate, and I'm not happy about it, but I'm looking at it realistically. If you don't think I'm looking at it realistically, much like the INCELs, you kind of got to look in the mirror and think what your motivation is for thinking the way you are. I couldn't be more dispassionate about it, really, when it comes down to it. I'm passionate about the subject because I think it's something terrible and wrong. But when I'm looking at hard facts, I seriously couldn't be more dispassionate about it. When I say that unreported rapes don't matter, that is dispassionate as fuck. I'm not saying it out of anger. I'm not saying it out of spite. I'm saying it because if you don't report something, that's the same as giving consent. And if something terrible happens to you, I encourage you to find the strength, if it's possible, to go out and get that motherfucker somehow. Because I don't want to see somebody else get attacked. You know, like I would feel terrible if somebody did something to me like that and I just said, well, I'm just going to live with it and not say anything because I don't want to go through the trauma of everything else. And then I would find out that they did it to somebody else. I would feel awful. That's me. And that, you know, I'm not saying that everybody has an obligation. I don't think that's right either. I wouldn't want to put that on somebody. I wouldn't want to say, no, you have to deal with all of the circus that's going to go on surrounding it. You have to. No. But I don't know. It's a terrible thing. There's a lot of angles to it, and none of it's comfortable, and it sucks. That's why I hate fucking having to do these goddamn videos. They just make me upset and depressed. Because really, I don't like this sort of thing. I hate when I hear that it happens, and I hear about it a lot, and it makes me very sad that this sort of shit happens to people, and it makes me doubly sad that this sort of shit happens to people, and fuckers get away with it. But you know, I'm gonna have to take a lot of shit for this one, I'm sure, and whatever. But I can't help the way I feel. I can't help that my opinions are the way they are. So if you disagree with it, you know, that's fine. And you can vent your spleen at me all you want. I'm used to it at this point. I can take it. But just don't misrepresent me. Right? Don't fucking pretend that I'm living out your expectation of what you think what I'm saying means. Listen to what I'm saying. And if you have questions, if you'd like me to clarify, as always, I'm happy to do that in the comments section. And if it's something that I think is a big enough issue where I need to clarify it in video form, I will, of course, always do that. My door is always open to you. But yeah, I just pisses me off. Just when people, they project their shit onto me. It just pisses me off. And then the new tactic is for everybody to essentially say, well, I'm projecting on you, and what you're doing is wrong because you're just projecting your shit onto everybody else. And it's like, no, you're wrong. And you're so blinded by your own fucking bias that you can't even see my non-bias in the situation. And it's sad.